Good morning, YouTube world. It is Wednesday, March the 7th, and wanted to make a quick video here to talk about a couple things. So, today was Arms and Shoulder Day. It was a fantastic workout. It set a couple new PRs. I was very proud of that. My endurance is increasing, which is great. Um, my strength is also a lot better now. I actually felt stronger than I have been today, which was a fantastic boost to my training. So, wanted to touch base on a little bit more about me since I haven't really given much details on things. Um, so, if you guys watched my initial video, I was at 303 on that video, but the heaviest I've actually gotten was at 340, and that is a shitload of weight. Um, um, so I've been thinking about all that and how far I've come, and a question that someone has asked is, how did I get there? Um, and it's obviously bad choices, bad food choices, lack of exercise. It's really basically how I got there. Um, wasn't as far as eating a bunch of sweets and things like that. Haven't really been a big fan of those, but like previously, my job was on the road every day for driving around at least 100 miles a day. So trying to eat and drive and all that other good stuff, it wasn't easy. So there was a lot of fast food that I had to pick up, a lot of drive-throughs and all of that. And like I said, driving around, just sitting in the car, there's no exercise there going on. Um, but that's not an excuse. That's just my explanation as to how I got to where I was. And I'll be honest. I know a lot of overweight people are. They say things like they hate their bodies or things like that. Um, that was never really the case for me. I mean, sure, I didn't love my body. I wasn't walking around shirtless or anything like that. But I'd never looked at myself in the mirror and felt disgusted with what I saw. That just never happened. I mean, I looked at myself in the mirror and I saw who I saw. It was me, and all the choices that I've made that got me to that point. Um, so I was never depressed or anything like that. Been fortunate to not run into those situations. I know a lot of people run into those situations where they get depressed and they feel like that there's no one there to help them and things like that. Um, I was fortunate enough to never run into that. I was always, I'm not gonna say I'm always upbeat and happy every day, but I wasn't sad or anything like that. I guess the word would be content with everything that was going on. I mean, shopping for clothes was a pain, but I still found clothes that fit. And that's not the case for a lot of people. And I can see how stressful that would be, and how somebody could fall into that state of mind of depression, and that's not something to joke around with or anything like that. Um, People do get self conscious, and if they fall into a depression, then it just a downward spiral if there's no one there to give them hope, uh, to guide them, or anything like that. So, if anybody watching experiences that kind of situation, just know that you're not alone. There's many people who you can reach out to, and there's many hotlines that you can reach out to. There's always a way out. Um, so I wanted to touch base on that, but as far as getting that big wasn't. I noticed it. I'm not gonna say that I just woke up one day and was like, "Whoa." No, I noticed it, and I knew I had to do something about it, but I just never did. I kind of just went with it. Clothes didn't fit, bought bigger clothes, and things like that. I always had, strength. I wasn't the kind of person who would get winded walking, for 10 minutes or anything like that. Sure, I'll break a sweat, but, I'd still do it. I wouldn't get winded or anything like that. So I have been very fortunate throughout my life that, I haven't run into any type of health issues. So, I mean, one of the reasons that I kept holding off on, trying to change who my body and everything like that and my eating habits was, you know, I had many fears. I feared failure. Obviously, that's usually the main one people fear. I also, you know, feared success. I feared actually reaching my goal and not knowing what to do after the fact, and will I put the weight back on, will I get even worse, getting bigger than I was, all that kind of stuff ran through my mind. The loose skin was a lot, something that came across my mind a lot. um, and then I would like to sit here and say that, yeah, I wasn't concerned about that or anything like that. I was very concerned about it. And that held me back for a long time. I just didn't want to start something and then look at myself in the mirror and regret what I saw because of all the loose skin and things like that. Um, but eventually, with the help of some friends, I got over that. I learned to accept the fact that once I'm reached my goal in my journey, that I will have a lot of loose skin. Maybe not as much as other people, but I will have some loose skin, and I should not fear that. I should embrace that as a sign that, what, I was who I was and I changed, and that's a big accomplishment. So that's been one of my fears, and but you'll never catch me walking around with a shirt or anything like that, even if I do reach my goal. So that, I just want to touch base a little bit on that. When I was a kid, I wasn't a heavy kid or anything like that. Um, like I mentioned before, I think in one of my other videos, I didn't start putting on weight until I think it's like eighth grade, seventh grade, and onward. And that was just mainly my own bad choices. It wasn't the product of my environment or how I was raised or anything like that. It was really just my bad choices and going for fast food because it's right there, it's convenient, and it was quick to get versus looking for something on the healthier side. So that's one thing a lot of people need to focus on and realize that, did you get where you are because of your own choices or because some external factor? I'm not going to say that it's always somebody's choice, but there's majority of the time it is your choices that you make. Sure, there are cases where it's not something you can control. A disease or a condition or something that is totally different than what I was talking about. So please don't get offended if you're overweight because of a condition you have. Um, my case in particular was just really bad choices as I was in my teenage years. Um, and like another question I get asked by friends on social media and things like that is, how do I manage to train at the time that I do? Um, so for those of you that don't know, I wake up at 1 a.m. every day, and well, trying to wake up at 1 a.m. every day to hit the gym. So I get to the gym about 1:30, 1:40, and then I'll train until about 5, and then I'll go home, shower, and then come to work. And work my full day and everything like that. People question as to how I'm able to, do that without being extremely tired or things like that. And the honest truth about it is, I've tried other types of methods. I tried working out after work, or and things like that, and it's just I, the gym's always packed, or once you get out of work, you're just tired and really want to go home, and it's easier to skip training that way. And as far as working out before work, it's I thought about it, but if you actually realize that even if you go in at 5 a.m., there's a bunch of people there, so it's usually crowded because of everybody's trying to get a workout in before going to work. And I'm not much of the not huge fan of sitting there for 5 minutes waiting for a machine to open up, because you kind of lose your rhythm of your training. And I've always been a night owl, technically. I always wake up really early, and I figured if I'm already up at this time anyway, why not make good use of it? So I started going to the gym at that time, and I realized there was maybe like 10 people there, and it was a lot easier to get a workout in. No one would be there hogging up a machine, or trying to talk to you while you're in the middle of a workout. And from then on, it was just it just got easier. Um, yeah, I do go to sleep earlier than most people. Um, Usually, if it's like 7:30, I'm usually in bed or already asleep. But that's just what works for me. And what works for me in my day. It's easier for me to wake up that early and get the training sessions out of the way, and then go about my day. If I'm tired during work, it's if I'm tired during work, I'll push through it, and then eventually just go home and eat my dinners, and then go to sleep. And I don't have to, I don't have that thought in my head throughout the day of, okay, I have to leave at this time and then go to the gym before I go home. I don't have to worry about any of that. So, because that's already done. And honestly, you can ask other people who work out at 5 a.m. or whatever time before their work day starts, and you just feel different. You feel a lot better, in my opinion. You feel more energized and more relaxed if you work out before work, um, versus working out after work. Um, that's just the way I think. Um, I mean, that's just the way I feel. I feel more energized. I feel relieved, I guess, because I know my training is already done, and I can not have to worry about anything until the next day, which is a great feeling for me. Uh, Another thing I wanted to touch base on was sacrifices. Everybody has to make some kind of sacrifice in this journey. Doesn't matter how little or how small, how little, how big. I'm sorry. There's always some sacrifices involved, unfortunately. Um, Mainly for me is losing touch with a few people, um, for multiple reasons. Just didn't have time to hang out, or they just brought in negativity that I didn't need during my journey, as to oh, let's go drinking, or let's do this, let's eat this, or you've always been fat, so you don't really need to work out. That's how you're gonna be, and just things like that. So eventually, just started slowly not talking to them, not responding to text messages and things like that, because the last thing you need during your journey is someone telling you that you can't do it because X and Y and Z reasons. Um, you actually like to have the opposite. Like, you like to surround yourself with somebody who either has been through that journey or is in the process of it, and that whatever you're going through, they're going through at the same time, so that you can support each other. Um, Aside from that, it's just my multiple other sacrifices is I just don't have an open schedule anymore like I used to. My day usually revolves around waking up, going to the gym, going to work, coming home, going to sleep, waking up, going to the gym, going to work. That's usually my routine. Doesn't leave much room for anything else, aside for the weekends. And during the weekends is the time that I take to catch up on things that I couldn't do during the week. Go grocery shopping, doing laundry, meal prepping, and next thing you know, it's Monday again, and the weekend's gone. So that's one of the sacrifices I've made. Don't get me wrong, I still keep in touch with a few people here and there, but they understand that sometimes I'm not going to be able to see them or go out to lunch or things like that. So that's something that a lot of people need to think about. Not saying that everybody has to cut off the rest of the world from their life, but sometimes small sacrifices need to be made in order for you to reach your goal of whatever it is, whether it's starting your own business, losing weight, or whatever you're doing. You need to dedicate your time straight to that and focusing on that. And sometimes, like I said, you just have to cut some people off and worry about yourself, because no one else is going to worry about you if you're not worried about yourself. Um, so I want to actually wrap up this video. It's actually a lot longer than I thought it would be. Um, Going back to when I started this video, how I mentioned about some people that run into a depression and things like that, um, thinking that there's no hope for them to change or to do whatever they want to do. Um, if there's one thing I want to accomplish during my journey, aside from reaching my goal weight, is I want to be able to give someone hope in any way I can. Um, that's like the one thing I would like to accomplish, aside from my own personal goal, is to have someone, doesn't even have they don't even have to tell me, they don't have to make it public or anything like that. um, my hope is just that somebody watches my videos or goes through my social media, and they see my journey and my struggles, and gives them hope to complete theirs, whatever their journey might be. Just knowing that someone else is able to do it, that 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 would be my ultimate goal, is to be able to give someone the hope to follow their own dreams. Doesn't matter what it is. Start your own business, go skydiving, see the world, whatever your goal is. I hope that I'm able to give you that hope and that motivation to go after it. Don't worry about failure. Don't worry about anything like that. Just take the dive, take the plunge, just take a risk. um, because me personally, I rather regret failing at something than regret never trying. Um, Not sure if you guys feel the same way, but that's my thinking. It's I don't want to look back at my life, 30, 40 years from now and say, man, I wish I should have done that. I wish I could have done that. I regret not even giving that a shot. So that's my thoughts for today, guys. Don't know if you'll see this video today or sometime this week. But again, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to hit me up and I'll respond as best I can. Thank you very much and enjoy your day.